I believe the words you were looking for, Scorpion, were accurate title. After all, it is a fact that I'm obsessed with myself. After all, I wouldn't be live streaming unless I thought that I was great and deserved attention and love, right? That's how live streaming works. That's how it is. And I've gotten that, obviously, because I'm very rich and famous and handsome. So, Scorpion, how are you today? Welcome to the live stream. It's another live stream. I'm a live streaming goddamn maniac. I'm live streaming all the damn time, and you can't stop me. I won't stop. Not till I've hit the top, whatever the top is. I don't know what the top is. Is my cat behind me? She is. She's on the floor. Anyway, welcome to the live stream. As I talked about in the last live stream, and as a reminder, today, July 14th, is the 1-year anniversary of my Death Stranding is Not a Failure video coming out. A video that marked a pretty significant change in my channel and in my content. In my content. I'm getting ready for a job interview, was listening to Fleetwood Mac. Fleetwood Mac's pretty pog. I like Fleetwood Mac. Do you listen to Tusk yet? It's name of Johnny Stan, you know. And the Death Stranding video was a pretty big shift in my content and in my channel because I started to focus more on video essays, and I learned a lot from that video. It was a lot of fun to make, but is ultimately pretty weak these days compared to the pure raw excellence that I am capable of now. You know, if I'm gonna go with this narcissistic title, I might as well lean into it pretty hard. So I'll just talk about how everything I made after this point was even better. But this video was pretty good. I felt really good about it when I uploaded it, and I still feel pretty good about it. I haven't watched it in a long time though. You introduced me them through Tusk. Tusk is a great fucking song, but they have a lot of bangers. But yeah, we're gonna get into the video, and I'm gonna pause it and talk about shit from time to time. I wanna go into kind of how this video was made, struggles that I went through while producing it. Kind of the whole thing behind it, and what I learned from it and how I've grown from it, which I think is important. I guess I'll talk about, before we get into the video, how the idea for the video even came to be. I started to get pretty into video essays around the time that this video was made. And as I've mentioned before, I frequently just make things that I'm personally interested in watching. So, I was watching a lot of video essays. I was getting interested in the idea of like really in-depth explorations of things, like very long videos really exploring something. And not long after I'd finished Death Stranding, I kept thinking about it. I kept it because it was so close to greatness. It was so close to being good. Death Stranding was so close to being a good game, yet it had just tiny little problems. And I just kept thinking about, like, here's how this could have been fixed. Here's this could have been fixed. Here's how this could have been fixed. Jess, welcome to the live stream. How are you today? And so the more I thought about it, like, I kept just sitting there thinking about this shit while I was at work. And all of a sudden, I was like, I should just make a video about this. I should make a video about Death Stranding being close to a good game and how it could have been better. And so I think I went home and I wrote the script that day. I think I still have the script. Hang on, let me check. I don't throw stuff away. I never throw anything away because I'm an insane person. So here are all of my scripts. And I have a notebook full of notes for videos that might not ever get made. That's Nisekoi. That's video game music. That's Godzilla. Fucking Christ, so long. Okay, this is the original draft of the script. This is not what I used. This was really, really, really scripted. Holy crap, I forgot I wrote all of this. This script is so long. It's 4 pages. This isn't the script I actually used, right? No, it isn't. No, I already see jokes in here that I ended up cutting entirely. Holy shit. Okay, I forgot this version of the script existed. Okay, these are 2 other. Okay, here's the script I actually used. Much more bullet pointed. Still much longer than any script I've written, except for maybe the Dark Souls mastery video one, but World War I was making notes on where to find footage. I see. Okay, yeah. So I have a whole bullet pointed list. So I had 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 pages as a bullet pointed list for this hour-long video. My newest hour-long video was a sheet of paper of handwritten bullet points. So that just goes to show how different my script writing is these days. But I forgot this existed. I have this original draft of the script that is just line after line of like a properly written thing that I guess I was planning to read out. I don't know how the fuck I would have memorized this. That would have been a nightmare. I'm so glad I didn't end up doing that, because that would not have been good. I'd really love to watch this, but my phone won't stop buffering. Tell your phone to quit being stinky. Tell it to stop. But yeah, so that was I found my script. I wasn't sure if I still had that, but turns out I do. And following, writing that script, I filmed the video. I had to buy a green screen. The green screen I bought was actually too small. I had to buy a larger one for the next videos for it to continue being a thing. But following writing that script, I got into making the fucking video, and let's fucking watch it, I guess. I don't think I have anything else to say as a little preamble here. Let me zoom in. Hey, what's up?
Death Stranding has to be one of the most interesting games I've ever played. Leading up to its release, it had all these weird trailers that basically explain nothing about the game. And
my color correcting's gotten a lot better, so I already have to mention this, and you can see just already from this camera angle, my color correcting has always been weak. It's always been something I've struggled with, but like, I really had to get better at it. So when I started making videos like this, where you spent a lot of time staring at me, like the green hue on my hair, that looks awful. It's all it's highly saturated, but not very good in contrast, so it overall looks kind of flat. Don't like that. I had really shitty lighting because I didn't have my new lighting set that I use now. So I had to do a lot of boosting to make it like actually a proper exposure level, and when you do that kind of thing, it washes out the colors like crazy. So
leading up to its release, it had all these weird trailers that basically explained nothing about the game, and everyone was so excited about it because it was Hideo Kojima, the man behind the incredibly famous Metal Gear franchise and PT, the horror game that set the internet on fire.
I don't remember if I actually I don't think I mentioned this in the video, but I tried Metal Gear Solid 5 and I didn't even like it. So I like that. The reasons I'm listing right now aren't even reasons that I was excited about Death Stranding. PT, on the other hand, I've always wanted to play PT. I'm terrible with horror games, but I really fucking want to play PT. And you can't, because fucking Konami was like, no, this game doesn't exist. We never worked with this producer. And you can't get it unless you have a console that at one time had it downloaded. And you can buy those consoles for too goddamn much money. You can buy them. And I want one. Because I want to play PT. Just once in my life, I want to play PT.
And then it came out.
I got really mad when this happened, by the way, side note. This is... obviously, all the Death Stranding footage I used for this video is my own, but this made me really mad because I just slid down the mountain for no reason.
It got completely...
So, I'll mention right now, move myself over here for a second. It's really low quality on the green screen segments, and that's because when I filmed the green screen, I get two problems. First was my green screen was too small. Second, I filmed it horizontally, and I had to film it from pretty far back so I could capture my entire body. My camera can't go like 4K to make like really high quality footage that I can zoom into a lot. So it ended up looking like absolute shit, and I learned following this video, and starting with the Godzilla video, I always record the green screen footage vertically so that like my body fills up as much of the frame as possible. So when I zoom in, it's not as noticeable of a loss in quality. But in this video, even when I'm like standing at like a normal distance, even when like my little even when I'm like shrunk down, it's still pretty noticeable how much of a hit to quality it took because of how far back the camera had to be to accommodate for the full body thing and for the small green screen. I'm here for a minute. Damn, nobody can watch today. You're all fucking busy. I'm gonna be all alone talking about myself. This is crazy. Microwave, what's up? How are you?
Shredded in their views. I mean, it's like someone took their dang math homework and just...
Oh, that's another thing. My green screen was really rough.
Shredded in their views. I mean, it's like someone took their dang math homework and just...
so you can see it's just you can see like the background popping through my leg, and that will not stop throughout this entire video. I'm good, just sleepy. Sleepy is not good, but good because you're here. What have you been up to today? I did not have a lot of experience with green screening before I started making these kinds of videos. I did have a decent amount through high school. We used green screening for a good amount of stuff, but you know, we pretty much used presets for green screening. When you use the ultra key effect in Premiere, there's like default, aggressive, relaxed. We'd always just set it to aggressive, and fine, that works fine. I tried that with my own footage, and because of like how shit my lighting was and how low quality the footage was because of the aforementioned horizontal filming, it ended up being really rough trying to like pull the green screen out of this video. Something else I learned from. I have since like I know all the sub settings for green screening, and I never do preset green screening. Like I always pick out the settings just right to make it as like little of a loss in quality as possible. You also see my hair is constantly like just changing as the green screen tries to accommodate it, and it looks awful. It looks fucking terrible, but I figured out how to do it better. The only thing that my green screening is missing is decent lighting. I don't have the space to properly light a green screen. You need a lot of space to properly light a green screen. So I've found ways around that though, and I think my green screening's been pretty fucking good otherwise. But it's bad in this one.
I looked at this game and I said, this does not look like a game that I would enjoy. This gameplay is not the kind of thing.
Audio leveling is also atrocious on this video. The music is too loud. I tend to edit without headphones on. I don't like wearing headphones, generally speaking, so I tend to edit without headphones on. So when I go to like level audio for a video before, I would just, listen to it through the speakers, and I would adjust the music accordingly. The problem is when you're wearing headphones, I don't know what it is about it, but like you can hear more of those like quieter sounds better. So music that sounded okay on speakers is too loud in headphones, and you need to accommodate for headphone listeners. So I've since learned that when I'm doing my final cut of the video, I need to listen to it with headphones on and adjust the audio accordingly. So my music is generally much quieter in more recent iterations, but throughout most of this video, the music was too loud.
I usually like, but for some reason, I was just driven to play it anyway. I sunk 44 hours into Death fucking Stranding. So even though that game has been ripped to shreds by this point, I want to talk about
I wish I'd done like a calculation to find out how much those 44 hours, because that was like the entire game. I wonder how many of those hours were spent just watching cutscenes, because there were so many lengthy cutscenes in this video game. I should have, to emphasize my point at the end about the ending being too ridiculously long, I should have like done a calculation to find out how much of the game was just cutscenes. just to make a point about that, but I don't think I did.
My thoughts on it. So with this video, I want to go in depth and get into the details of what worked about Death Stranding and what did not, and how it could have been done better. Because I, as a 22-year-old man sitting on his couch with no game development training, definitely knows more about game design than an entire studio helmed by a very famous developer. I'm a big smart brain man.
So sometimes I've gotten better about not doing this kind of thing. Sometimes I write things into a script anticipating certain comments. So that line there about me being a 22-year-old man sitting on my couch knowing better than a team of developers, that was essentially written as a preemptive defense against people who would say that I can't talk because I'm not those people. I wish I hadn't written that in. People are still gonna make that like. People would still say that kind of thing regardless of whether or not I acknowledge that it's a bit ridiculous. And everybody is qualified to criticize things. People can be wrong about criticizing things, but everybody's qualified to criticize things. So that's a line that every time I listen to it, I'm like, why did I write that in? I was that insecure about people not liking my opinions that I had to write that in. Pathetic, past Mac. That's another thing I learned from this video. And something I learned from the next video as well. A lot of times throughout this video, I wrote parts of the scripts essentially with the intention of almost devaluing my own opinion, like saying like probably phases, or I think, or I feel, in my opinion, whatever. Those are all accurate. of course. Everything in a video like this is opinion based and is like up to interpretation. But it really weakens your points when you point it out before you even say what you're thinking. And I've found through writing more scripts that it has a much better impact if you just like own your opinion, go at it with confidence, and state it as though it's fact. Because, you know, people aren't so stupid to think that it isn't opinions. There are idiots on the internet who are going to be like, who are going to think like, you're stating this as fact, even though it's an opinion. And it's like, I was catering to those people when I should have been catering to the smart people who are like, well, obviously it's an opinion, so he's allowed to have that. But again, I was essentially preemptively defending myself, and I don't do that kind of thing anymore. I state my opinions as fact because it makes them much stronger and makes them have much more of a punch when you're listening to them. Really happy with how these turned out. You would never know if you hadn't played Death Stranding, but this is what the transitions in between chapters in the game look. Pretty much exactly like this with the exact same sound effects. Thought that was kind of cool.
I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. The gameplay is exactly what you think it is. It's walking or driving from point A to point B with a package so some idiot in New Jersey can get a butt plug delivered. It's boring. It's really boring.
Why does this look like shit? It's at 1080p. Why does it look like
But
gas?
there's this beautiful thing at the center of all of it that keeps you pushing forward, that makes it addicting. And that is a beautiful sense of accomplishment. There is something so utterly satisfying about completing a delivery successfully that it makes you just want to go, okay, I'll complete another delivery. Sure, slap it on my back. Hey, here's something else that needs to be delivered. Slap that on my back too. Oh, here, a third thing needs to be delivered. All right, on my back it goes. My skeleton.
I can't even tell you how many times I tried to get that line out and ended up just giving up and going with this instead.
Does not need to be healthy. Let's get these packages delivered, and then, hey, that felt really good.
I don't know why that one day I could not say musculoskeletal system. I still can't, apparently. But for some reason, I couldn't fucking get that line out, so I just made a joke of it.
And then it's 4 hours later, and you haven't eaten anything all day.
That's based on real experience. I played this game for many hours straight without eating.
A few factors that lead into this sense of accomplishment, and the one that I want to talk about first is a very small thing, and it's that the game lets you add a waypoint on your map. Now, a lot of games let you do this. Skyrim lets you add waypoints on your map. Red Dead 2, waypoints on your map.
God, remember when my PC could still play Red Dead 2? I filmed that Red Dead 2 shot or recorded that Red Dead 2 shot off of my own computer. For some reason, don't know why, still, Red Dead 2 does not launch on my computer. It will not, I cannot play Red Dead 2. I want to. Now that I can't, I want to, but I absolutely refuse to buy it on any other console or platform in the hopes that it might work, because goddamn it, I already paid for the game, and for some reason I can't play it. This is a total tangent, but whatever. It's my video, it's my live stream, I can talk about what I want.
I think Breath of the Wild does it too. There's a lot of games that do it. So what's different about Death Stranding? You can put multiple waypoints that connect together in a path, and that lets you plan your path ahead. This is especially helpful in areas where the terrain is pretty rough.
This is something I definitely learned from doing this video. The intention of, you know, writing this with a green screen in mind was that I could use the green screen to like point at things, point stuff out, like show things with my arms that would then be behind me. But wasn't really used to it, so I forgot to a lot. This is an example. Like I could have definitely like pointed at the map and like pointed out plot points and just like tracked myself to them. But I totally forgot to. So there's moments in this video where I do remember that there's a green screen behind me, but other times that it's basically just me explaining it in front of a green screen and doesn't really serve any purpose. I also use the green screen footage really liberally throughout this video. In more recent videos, I've taken a much more reserved approach with it. Kind of a, you know, if I have the option of having the chair footage or like the green screen footage, then the thought process needs to be like, what's the deciding factor? When I made this video, the deciding factor between whether or not I would use green screen or couch footage was which delivery turned out better. That was basically the entire thing. There was a few exceptions, especially with the green screen footage. You know, there was a few jokes that particularly had the green screen in mind. And so I would always default to the green screen for that. But for the most part, whether or not I used the chair footage or the green screen footage was entirely dependent on which delivery I liked better. And I've since taken a more reserved approach to it where I pretty much only use the green screen footage if I think there's a reason to. If there's a green screen specific joke, or if I think like the point I'm making is emphasized by usage of the green screen, or in other words, you being able to see something and me being able to point at it directly. And I think it works much better.
Points that connect together in a path, and that lets you plan your path ahead. This is especially helpful in areas where the terrain is pretty rough. There was something that's felt so good about planning ahead and having it go well. One of my favorite areas of the game was this big snowy mountain. And this place is great for a number of reasons. There's rocks and cliffs and a lot of fucking snow. But if you take the time before you go out on your delivery to plot out your route and make sure you're avoiding all these obnoxious things, you'll find it is not that hard to get around. And it's actually pretty essential. Because on the higher parts of the mountain, there'll be these blizzards blowing and you can't see more than 10 feet in front of you. You can't see Mississippi from the Louisiana, some southern saying. You can't fucking see.
I actually really like that joke. I think that's pretty funny.
And so it feels
you can't fucking see.
Super rewarding when you can't see jack shit, but you know exactly where you're going because you set those waypoints ahead of time. It's a very rewarding feeling, which makes it so that even though the gameplay itself is not that fun, you still feel good about doing it. But what about when you actually deliver the dang box? Well, it's not an empty feeling when you finish that delivery.
Can you hear like how reserved I sound in my voice? Like I'm so uncertain. Just like I'm almost shocked by how much more comfortable I am on camera from doing these video essays more. It's strange because like I've done live streaming with a webcam for much longer than I've done the video essays, and yet for some reason like it still took me a while to really get used to like speaking and being confident in my performance. I definitely took like a more animated approach with this video, like trying to like play up a character rather than just talking about my opinions and my points. And I think like definitely like the scripting has helped with that. You know, I wrote my Berserk. I have it in this notebook. I wrote my Berserk script like so barren, so little actual like writing went into the script. Here's my entire script for the Berserk video. That's it. That's the entire thing. And it's just because I wanted myself to just talk. I wanted myself to just talk as if I was telling a friend about the things I was talking about. And I think like that works so much better. That works so much better. And you can tell in this video, like I was not comfortable like putting on a performance. And I had an idea of what I wanted the video to be rather than playing to my own strengths.
Okay, they have this beautiful thing called a rating system. Now, what does the rating system do? Well, what do you fucking think, that you idiot? Every delivery you complete gets rated on a number of factors, the most important of which being the weight of the cargo you're bringing, how quickly you brought it, and the quality of it. If it's, you know, all busted.
I like how I will try to find any reason to shove Sonic R music into any video. I use those songs so goddamn often.
Up, people open it up, nice fine china they ordered from Amazon.com is all busted up. They're not gonna like it very much. But if you get everything just right, you get that nice, that you get that B, you get that A, you get that S, you get that gold star, you get that high five, you get that fucking Hot Wheels toy, okay? It's sick. And it's not just an arbitrary ranking either. It's actually important to your progression in the game. Every time you get a good ranking, it feeds directly into your skills.
You are right. Supersonic Racing, like specifically, but like really that entire soundtrack. You can't not use it, especially when it's not going to get copyright claimed.
That will unlock new equipment or be able to upgrade your guy. His name is Sam, by the way, and make him real.
Why didn't I cut to a cutscene of Sam when I said that? That would have been stinky past Mac. Why didn't you do that?
Strong. If you make enough deliveries where the load is really heavy, you'll increase your carry weight. It's pretty straightforward, but it's really important to.
Also, something that bothered me in this video that I have never done again since I didn't wear shoes. I was just wearing my regular socks, and like something bugs me about that. I didn't like that at all. So for the rest of the videos, I would always wear shoes when I was doing the green screen footage.
making you feel like continuing to do more deliveries. It's like, okay,
but like you can see how fucked the footage got by like the way I had my green screen set up. Like you can't see any details on my pants. It's like my legs have been consumed by the void. It's just completely black. You can't see like anything.
Keep doing more deliveries, they'll be less annoying because I can keep stacking shit up till it gets way tall. Now, a lot of people come down on this game because it is very tedious, and especially come down on the vehicles because they are difficult to drive and they don't get over the terrain that well. But in a way, I almost see this as a good thing because it makes it so that
Sean bought me Anime Standing. I gotta play that on stream at some point. What's up, Jared? How you doing?
when you do figure out how to use those vehicles, it feels like you're mastering a trade and becoming a better Amazon delivery man in the process. With enough practice, I found myself being able to get the motorcycle over like rocky terrain because you're able to kind of pop it up on the rear wheel.
As a side note, this footage you can see from this here. This footage was from like a timed mission. Oh shit, you can't see because my camera. This footage was from like a timed mission where I had to throw a nuke into a lake. The time limit was like in terms of difficulty for the game, the time limit was way too long. I had like 15 minutes left by the time I got to where I needed to go. Just woke up. Well, welcome to the live stream. I'm watching my own video and talking about how it got made because it's been a year since I made it, and ever since I made this video, my channel's changed a lot, and I'm really happy with it. So I got to talk about how I'm not happy with this video. Hey, I'm wearing the same sweatshirt today. I didn't even fucking mean to do that. I'm wearing the same sweatshirt I wore in the video. That's great. That was totally accidental.
While still being able to rotate and move forward. So if you're really smart about it, you can get the bike over just about any terrain, to the point where towards the latter half of the game, I was using the bike a lot more than I was walking. And then you feel good about yourself. Again, a job well done. Not only have I completed that delivery with an S rank, I did it on my motorcycle, so it was like 10 times faster, and I'm better than you because I know how to do it and you don't, and you smell bad. Do you hear me? You smell bad.
Stand by this.
It's brilliant. It's weirdly brilliant how these little things that could potentially be considered negative points about the game or things that are really tedious and frustrating transform into something that can be extremely rewarding and addicting. Now, this can also be considered a bit of a problem because I've already kind of told you the way to master this game, and it's just to plan ahead. Now, certainly learning how to use all these little things that the games will give you, like being able to use the vehicles well, or being able to use your equipment in a really smart way, or being able to do sick kickflips on your tech deck, all those things are gonna help you.
I like that joke, but my execution of it was fucking terrible. It didn't land at all because it was bad execution of that joke.
As you make your way across the world, but because of the way the ranking system is set up, realistically speaking, if you're really smart about it and you plan ahead, you will always be able to get an S rank. And then the game becomes easy, and that's not a good thing. The game doesn't throw a lot of obstacles at you, and certainly none that make you think on your feet. Nearly everything I'm about to mention can be avoided by just planning ahead. There are these guys who like to run around, I don't remember what they're called, I'm gonna call them stealing boys, and they think it's funny to try to take your packages. I guess they get off on it. I understand. When I open my door and it's a package from Amazon with my green screen.
Yeah, so you can see this green screen is way too fucking small. Look how easy it is for my hand to go out of frame. The green screen I use now is like 3 times the size of this one.
Screen kit, that's pretty epic, but I don't think it's worth stealing and going to jail and possibly getting punched by Norman Reedus. I'm gonna go more in depth into combat later in the video, but the important thing to note right now is that it's really easy to avoid. There are these posts in the ground around all of their camps, and if you just stay outside of the post, you can go around it and they won't trouble you. They stay within their posts. In addition to that, when you do get further into the game, it'll just show you exactly where they all are and where their perimeters are, and so at that point you can just plan your route ahead of it using the waypoints we talked about earlier. Another obstacle that the game will try to throw at you is weather, which you quickly realize it kinda isn't a problem at all. Every now and then you'll run into these acid rainstorms, and before you try to correct me and say it isn't acid rain, I know I'm just simplifying it because it basically is.
I don't know how much time I saved by not explaining that. Honestly, the rain in this game just makes your shit, just makes like time go faster for the items it hits, so it just makes them degrade. It's not exactly a hard thing to explain.
It will damage your packages over time, But the thing you realize is that it doesn't really matter if the outside of the package is damaged as long as what is inside doesn't get damaged. And the game will tell you whether or not the package versus the container itself is damaged. And the rain does damage so slowly that, again, it doesn't really matter. Plus, later into the game, it gives you this option to bring along an equipment that will let you repair your containers. So even if you get caught in the rain for a long time, ultimately, you're fine.
And that's not mentioning that the rain can also just be avoided. Your map has a forecast that will tell you exactly where and when the rain is going to hit. And it's not like well, meteorology is hard, so it's like a 70% chance over here at like noon, but down here, it's only like a 30% chance. So you should go this way. It's 100% accurate. If it says the rain's gonna pop up, it will pop up. So you can just go around it if you're really that worried about the rain.
So let's see, combat, not a problem. Weather, not a problem.
I hate the sound effect they use for that. It sounds awful.
Third obstacle, BTs. I don't remember what
BTS?
he stands for. I'm just gonna say it stands
BTS
for
chicken
bad
nugget?
thing. Okay, these guys are little ghost men that hang out and they spook around at you, and if you go too near them, they're like, stop, and they try to like pull you into the ground and make you all dirty, and then a big one shows up and he tries to kill you.
I also want nuggets. I haven't had McDonald's in forever. I should get some McDonald's later. But I still have leftover pizza, and I'm supposed to get sushi later, which I've never had sushi before. Maybe if I don't like the sushi, I'll get McDonald's.
They're actually kind of a problem at first because they're hard to get around. Your little sensor doesn't work that well, and if you do,
music I used in this section was awful. It was just like a long droning sound off of a Halloween soundtrack, and I was trying to like establish a mood, but it just kind of didn't work. Like the problem with establishing a mood, and I've learned this from doing videos, and I feel like especially excelled in it in my Berserk video. If I'm trying to establish a mood, the script matters a lot more than the music does. So the script I was using, or the words I was saying, did not establish the mood very well. So the music didn't fit. How have you never had sushi, and why do you say it so casually? I don't like fish. I've never liked fish, so I just never had a reason to try sushi.
You get caught by them, it's kind of difficult to figure out how to wrestle out of it. But you start.
And I know there's non-fish sushis. That's what I'm going to try, but I just never had a reason to go to a sushi place.
To figure them out, the more that you encounter them, the number one thing to learn is that if you stand still, you can see where they are and they don't move. You just have to avoid getting too close to them.
I'm actually not sure if the BTs don't move. I just never saw them move. I think they'll move, but they must move so slow that it doesn't matter.
So, 4 hours into the game, they're not a problem anymore either.
And while I'm on the subject of the bad things, why are there so many miniature cutscenes in this game? Every time the bad things show.
Okay, I'll say I don't know that I don't like fish. I don't like the fish that I've tried, but I have not been terribly adventurous with it. I do want to try more fish, but the very small amount of fish I have tried, I have not liked.
Up, your little.
And before you ask what kind of fish I've tried, I don't know. It's been a long time.
Scanner pops up and goes, woo, 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 there's BTs here. And it's like, cool, thank you. Please don't show me this 30-second cutscene. Oh, and then there's another cutscene when you're out of the BT range and it goes, but you're all good. Have a nice day. Boo, boo, boo. It's like, I just let it happen within the game world and I will know immediately that I'm in danger rather than make me watch this long-ass cutscene. You want to go into your
Yum Yum rolls? I think I've heard of that, but I don't know what it is.
room? That's
I like my music choice here. This is good.
cool, gamer. All you have to do is watch this cutscene of the elevator lowering, and then you have to watch a cutscene of you walking away from the elevator, and I think there's a third cutscene. I don't remember that well. But then, fucking congratulations, you're in your room. You want to take a shower? That's 4 cutscenes. That's gonna cost you 4 cutscenes. Are you sure about that? As you can see,
God, fuck this game. I'm making myself mad listening to myself talk about this game. I'm like reliving having to play it, and it's like, just fuck this game.
most of the obstacles that the game will throw at you can be planned around and avoided. So if you're just smart about it, it's really easy to get that S rank. Sorry to burst your bubble, but it's not gonna get much harder than that, which is a nice segue, beautiful segue. I'm gonna hop on my segue and ride off to chapter 2, which is about progression in the game.
The problem with the progression of Death Stranding is that it is the most fun
I like that segue joke. I think that's pretty funny. It's stupid, but it's funny.
to play right in the beginning. Ideally, when you are making a game, you should plan to have it be fun in the beginning and then get more fun as you progress and as you unlock more things.
God, Monster Hunter is an excellent example of that.
Think about stuff like Legend of Zelda, where in the beginning, all you have is the ability to go left, right, up, down, and you can swing your dinky little sword. But in the end, it's like, oh my god, fireball stuff, oh my god, bombs, oh my god, it's other fucking shit. It's great, it's fantastic.
Death Stranding does kind of the opposite, where it starts up here and whew, it's just downhill from there, baby. Just all the way downhill. You're going bottom.
Which from a delivery standpoint is great, because going uphill is a lot harder, but that's not what we're fucking talking about.
The game is the most fun in the beginning when all you have to do is slap some packages on your back and fucking point A to point B. That's it. That's all you gotta do. But then it starts adding all kinds of equipment and abilities and stuff you can do that in theory makes the game easier, but realistically just makes it more tedious and frustrating.
When you want to introduce a new item or a new ability to a player, I think there's one of two really good ways to go about it.
I really like this section when I used examples from Breath of the Wild and Darksiders. Examples help structure your point so fucking well. Something else I've learned from these videos a lot.
The first one is to give the player an issue first and then give them the solution to it later.
By the way, I was thinking about I want to play Darksiders again. I get an urge to play Darksiders like every couple of years, but you know, I've obviously already played it for the channel and on stream. So I was thinking like at some point, gotta go. Time to hopefully get a part-time job I'll hate for the next year or so. Good luck, Scorpion. Do the good stuff. Be a good interviewee. Do Poggers moments. But anyway, I was thinking about doing a live stream on one of my days off where I just start playing Darksiders and just stream until I finish it, because it's a short game. You could probably finish it in like a 14 to 16 hour live stream. So just do one really long live stream where I play through the entirety of Darksiders, and there you go. That's my Darksiders playthrough for this set of couple years.
A really good example of this is a game like Darksiders. Darksiders does this for almost every item it uses. As you're going up throughout the world of Darksiders, you'll keep coming across these blue crystals. And you see these blue crystals and you're like, there's clearly, based on my mini-map, something beyond this, and yet I can't get past it. Nothing I can do anything to this big blue crystal. It is far too powerful for my weak, tiny body. But then, later into the game, you get the Tremor Gauntlet. It's a big old fist, and you quickly learn that hitting the blue crystals with the Tremor Gauntlet makes them go kapow! And all of a sudden, it's like, fuck yeah, dude. Now I can go back to all these other areas, and I can punch the blue crystals, and boom, secret area. Boom, nice item. Boom, S rank. Getting the Tremor Gauntlet or other items like that makes it feel very exciting, because all of a sudden it's like, yes, now this problem I have can be solved. This is awesome.
The other good way to introduce equipment is pretty much the polar opposite of that. It's to give the player the equipment ahead of time, let them learn how to use it, and then start to present them with more challenges and make them use it in a more versatile way.
Breath of the Wild is an excellent example of this method because they give you all of your basic items and abilities right at the top of the game. You enter this temple and you get this ability to make ice pillars.
I can't honestly remember if I recorded this footage myself or if I stole it from somebody. I mean, I didn't steal it. I looked for stuff that was Creative Commons and credited them. That sounds bad when I say it just like that, but you get the point. I don't remember if I actually recorded this or not.
And at first it's like, okay, cool, I can make ice pillars. That's gonna be really useful. But then as you progress through the game, you learn, oh, I can use it to traverse water. Oh, I can climb on these. Oh, I can block water. Oh, I can destroy other ice blocks.
I definitely didn't record this because I didn't play the game long enough to get to this point just so I could do this. Wait, I might have, because looking at all my hearts and stuff. Oh yeah, because I was doing the illusory challenge. But wait, what about that footage before?
Climb on these. Oh, I can block water.
Okay, I don't think this is my footage.
Oh, I can destroy.
But this is. I remember doing this. This is my footage.
Other ice blocks. Using this method, the item or ability becomes like second nature to the player, where they learn and experiment different ways to use it, which is super duper fun. Because, oh, maybe you realize there's a different way you could have done something earlier in the game, or you just realize that you can make things easier for yourself.
God, I'm so pumped for Breath of the Wild 2. Need me some more of that shit.
Death Stranding chose a middle ground that doesn't fucking work at all. Death Stranding gives you equipment as the problem it will be used to correct comes into existence. They're presented to you at the same time or very close to each other. As an example of that, I will use the bola gun. As mentioned earlier, there are those stealing boys, I forget what they call them, I think it was stealing boys who like to take your packages. Now at the beginning of the game, they're not really a big deal. There's 3 or 4 of them, they're pretty easy to stealth around, and even if you get caught, punch, punch, trimmer gauntlet, nighty night boys, we're not fighting anymore because you are dead.
Not long after they're introduced, you get this thing called a bola gun. And the bola gun is great because it fires out this wire that ties them up and incapacitates them. And when I first got this thing, I was like, sweet, now these minor inconveniences aren't a problem at all. I don't have to worry about avoiding them. I can just go into their camps, steal their stuff, poop on their laptop, and leave. But oh boy, I was an innocent little man, a very tiny adult, pooping in my diapers because I wasn't ready for what was coming next.
Hey, sweet dude, you have this gun that can now tie people up. So instead of 3 or 4 guys, we're gonna send like 15 after you. Is that cool? I hope it's cool because it's happening. The game did not give me the...
This made me so mad when it happened. I was losing my shit. I was like, what the fuck? Why are there so many of them?
Item to solve an existing problem, and it did not give me the item to then ramp up the difficulty by slowly adding more enemies. They gave me the item because it was necessary for me to survive. I would not have been able to fight off 15 guys, so it became completely essential that I use the bola gun to tie them up instead. And all of a sudden, it was like, damn it.
And that is a trend you will start to recognize. Every time the game gives you equipment, it is immediately presented with what it will be used to solve. Oh, cool, I got a new gas mask. Oh, fuck, now I gotta deal with gas.
Literally, like, this one makes me really mad. Like, they literally, non-hyperbole, like, they gave you the mask right before you saw gas for the first time. Wouldn't it have been better to have, like, gas be a problem that you have to avoid for, like, a good chunk of the game before you get the gas mask? Then it would make it rewarding to get it. I know I'm repeating the exact same point that I'm making in the video, but, like, seriously, it's terrible.
Oh, sweet, I got this little exoskeleton that makes it easier to walk in snow. God damn it, now I'm gonna have to walk in snow.
And this is what I meant when I said that the game was most fun when all you had to do was slap packages on your back and walk from point A to point B to point Z, call it a fucking day. As you unlock new equipment, you have more problems to deal with, and none of them are fun to deal with. They're always tedious.
The game design is a myth. It's all fake. And only YouTubers who don't actually make games know how to make good games, obviously.
The more equipment you get to solve existing issues, the more issues you have to deal with.
And the game gives you equipment pretty frequently, to the point where it starts to feel like the game is trying to give off a vibe of you can approach any situation how you want. That's what they kind of give off. But you quickly learn that that is not the case at all.
My point was kind of weak here. I didn't kind of state this the way that I meant to. The game does allow you to approach any situation in the way that you think is best. The problem with the game is that it heavily de-incentivizes anything but like the right way to do it. That's what's wrong with this game. They give you a ton of options. They give you a lot of ways to deal with a problem, but you're only really meant to use one of them. And that's not good at all.
Think back to our ranking system earlier. What are the 3 things I told you majorly impact the ranking system? Your delivery time, your cargo condition, and the amount that you brought with you. Yeah, maybe the game will give you 40 assault rifles and 30 shotguns and Nintendo Power Glove, but going into combat is a bad idea because it'll jeopardize your cargo. This is the same shit as when you were in middle school and you do a math test and your teacher would give you a bad grade because you used the wrong formula even though you got the right answer. What is that bullshit?
It is like if Breath of the Wild said...
I should have stopped at that analogy. That analogy was really strong. It was a mistake to add a second one. I don't know why I did that. I think I thought this joke was really good, and so I needed to include it, even though it kind of broke the flow to use 2 examples of the same thing. If anything, I should have cut the first example and used this one, because this is also a good analogy for what I was trying to say.
Oh, there's 100-something fucking shrines, 4 divine beasts, and a castle. You can go wherever you want, do whatever you want. But if you don't do it in this exact order, you're gonna get a bad score. You can still do it, but you're fucking dumb if you do. And ultimately, it kind of makes you feel like it's best just not to try new equipment. Yes, I might have a fancy new grenade launcher, but I'm not gonna go run into combat to use it. I'm not even gonna take it with me because it's gonna weigh me down, and I'm just gonna avoid combat entirely. So why would I ever touch the grenade launcher?
There's so much equipment in the game that ultimately got left to the side because the game taught me not to use it. I just realized my zipper was unzipped. It's a good thing you can't see that.
It's a really solid transition, I think. That works really well. I'm gonna make a video essay about how this video essay could have been better.
Do you want to hear a little fun fact about me? Well, I love to travel. I love the natural beauty of the world around me. I'm so astonished by all the kinds of different photos that I see from around the world, and I wish I could get out and travel more. I want to see places like the Redwood Forests of California and the Ozark Rivers, all these beautiful national parks out there that just have all this beautiful scenery. I don't live there anymore, but when I grew up, I lived in New Hampshire, and I doubt I will ever forget how beautiful the mountains are out there. Now, you might be wondering why I'm bringing this up. Well, before I answer that, let me first show you the world of Death Stranding.
You know what's funny? After New Hampshire's also myth, that's valid. I always tell people I grew up in New England because when I say New Hampshire, they don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. That's not a joke. When Sean watched this video and he saw this part, he mentioned to me that he didn't even think Death Stranding was set on Earth because it didn't look like Earth at all. And I think that's really funny because it's also accurate.
Now, what I just showed you were shots from very different parts of the world of Death Stranding. And you might be thinking, oh, well, they decided to make their map a little samey. That's fine. Lots of games do that. And how large exactly is the map of Death Stranding? Well, okay, let me simplify it for you. It's only
The entire fucking United States of America. Kojima, have you ever been to America? We got more than ugly ass grass fields, dog. I know you got that game developer money. I know you made a killing on Metal Gear Solid 5. You started a new studio to make this bullshit ass game, and yet you don't know that America looks better than this?
This is a cross-country experience. You go from the East Coast to the West Coast in the game, yet all you see are flat grasslands, and there's a big snowy mountain and some ruined cities, and there's a red area, but there's nothing unique or interesting about it whatsoever.
This one legitimately pisses me off. The fact, like, they had this whole area of the game that was like a giant junkyard that like had all this like red ground. I think it was supposed to be like rust that had just like built up on the ground. It doesn't mean fucking, there's no like environmental like what's the word I'm looking for? Hazard that like makes this area more dangerous than the rest of the game. There's nothing unique about it. It's the same as the rest of the game. It just for some reason looks different. It doesn't even have like, you know, a different terrain that makes it harder to get around. It's the same as the rest of the fucking game. It just looks different for no reason. It's so weird.
For a game that is about walking from point A to point B, you'd think they'd give you some more interesting shit to look at.
This is absolutely one of the biggest missed opportunities of Death Stranding. Now, the game will occasionally teleport you to these battlefields from various wars throughout the world to fight an angry milkman. And I will talk about this in the later combat part of the video, but right now I want to call specifically to the one where you go to a Vietnam War area.
This battlefield is surprisingly beautiful. It's got lush forests, there's all these beautiful trees, and these big old rocks, and it's a nice green color. It's so nice to walk through. I was actually dumbfounded by how pretty it looked. And I think it's a really good example of what could have been done with this game if they decided to add any world variety at all.
I spent 44 hours in this game, and I think about 40 total of those hours were just spent walking through the world. Imagine how much more interesting that would have been if I'd gotten to climb the New Hampshire mountains and walk through the beautiful Ozark rivers and then finally end up in the Redwood Forest and get to see all these giant trees everywhere. I know they can't recreate the map of the United States perfectly, but they could definitely have done better than they did. Any game that is about traveling or exploration should be laser focused on having an interesting map. And Death Stranding, it feels like they wanted to make it crushing and depressing, which could have been equally possible with a variety of areas, but instead they chose, oh hey, this depressing green flatland is really just not doing it for me. Let's make it the entire map so the player just feels awful the entire time. And I did. Thank you. Appreciate it. Building off of that, I also want to say that for a game about traveling the world to make it deliveries, the world itself is very unrelated to the deliveries. Now, I mentioned earlier that the only real weather effect the game has to offer is the acid rain. There is, of course, the blizzard in the snow mountain that makes it really hard to see, and there's this one area of the game where you're kind of hiking through a mountain and there's wind blowing really hard, so you're threatening to get knocked over and have your packages damaged the entire time. But that is...
I don't know if I didn't emphasize in this video how much of a fucking missed opportunity that was. There was a part of the game that had like a very like vertical mountain that had wind blowing like crazy and tall trees everywhere and BTs that were difficult to get through. The area was a pain in the ass to get through, but it was interesting and it was fun. And it's like a ridiculously tiny spot on the first map. And that aspect of the game is never fucking... Wind is never used as a mechanic again. What the fuck were they thinking when they made this game?
One part of the game, and a very small part of the game. And I really liked it. There are very few ways that the environment and the world around you actually impedes your ability to make deliveries, which does not make sense to me at all. Because the entire point of your character's job is that you go out and go from point A to point B because other people are afraid to. So why on earth is the world itself so easy to traverse?
If the world did have a lot more variety, there might be more room for the world itself to kind of push back and fight you on your deliveries. There's one delivery in particular in the snowy mountain area where you have to take a bomb from the top of the mountain to the bottom. And the thing that's fun about it is that the bomb is unstable and any big bumps are going to cause it to go off. At first it sounds like a pain in the ass, and it kind of is, but it's also a lot of fun because I planned ahead, plotted my route, and then I got on my motorcycle and I had to drive incredibly slowly across the mountain to make sure I didn't blow up the bomb. In that situation, the environment I was in directly impacted my delivery, but there aren't a lot of deliveries like that. And you can tell I like that delivery because it stuck out to me. I probably did 100 or so deliveries in this game before I finished it, but that one's the one I remember the most. Just imagine some other scenarios where that might have been used. Like say, oh, you're in the Nevada deserts and some guy wants his fucking Mountain Dew Baja Blast and he wants it ice cold. So you gotta fucking book it across this desert before it gets too warm. And you have a couple options to doing that. Maybe there's like a freezer truck you can use. You can keep the Baja Blast in, but the freezer truck is kind of difficult to get over the terrain. So maybe a better option would be to have some ice packs on your pack. And then you could take that Mountain Dew Baja Blast with the ice packs down to the person. But this would still be kind of on a time limit because the ice packs are also going to melt and then the Baja Blast will get warm. And that, no one wants fucking warm Baja Blast, all right? It's better when it's cold.
Accurate.
There was so much room
Very
for this to be
accurate.
more than it was. And yet the world is just grasslands everywhere. Everywhere. Kojima, have you been to America? I know you have. You got millions of dollars. Don't even fucking pretend you don't. I do have to give the game one big compliment, which is that the music manages to set the tone of the world very well. I can't play any of it for you because I'm fairly certain most of it is copyrighted, but definitely look up the soundtrack of this game. It's used really effectively, and I think it could have been a real asset if the world were just more interesting to look at. If the world itself is not trying to stop you from delivering your packages, then what or who exactly is?
It's a really forced transition, but it does do its job.
The combat sucks. It just does. It's terrible. It's awful. The fisticuffs is way too easy. It's basically just button mashing.
And the guns are not at all satisfying to use in the slightest. Not to mention that having to carry hundreds of kilograms worth of fucking printer ink that people order on Amazon is not exactly conducive to fluid combat. When you think about games that have satisfying shooting mechanics, it's frequently paired with a satisfying movement mechanic. If you think about a game like Apex Legends, where you can be sliding around the dang ground and jumping all over the place, that's a good example.
And you might want to argue that it's not supposed to feel good because you are carrying all that stuff. It's supposed to feel like you're slowed down, but if your combat doesn't feel good, don't fucking include it. It legitimately feels like you're running around wearing a fucking Barney the goddamn dinosaur outfit shooting an AK and you can't quite move right or get a good grip on the gun because you got these fucking dinosaur fingers and it doesn't work. It doesn't feel good. You gotta take the...
Someone needs to make a video game where you just dress up as Barney and go to fucking Vietnam. I don't know. That'd be hilarious. I'm just saying, like, picturing Barney the dinosaur with an AK-47 is very funny to me.
Dinosaur costume off, stripped down to raw man, and go play some fucking Overwatch, because that shooting feels good. Death Stranding does not have good shooting. And that's really unfortunate because the further you progress in the game, the more they start to focus in on that shooting. Especially in the later parts when you're on the West Coast, they basically say, yep, fuck all that delivery bullshit. You're gonna fight somebody now and have fun because it doesn't feel good, but just do it, go. You go, stupid. And on top of which, the game gives you way too many guns to begin with, considering the ranking system, as mentioned earlier, expects you to avoid shooting people. They give you a fucking lethal pistol and level 2 lethal pistol, level 3 lethal pistol, a lethal shotgun, level 2 lethal shotgun. You get the point, it keeps going. But you're not supposed to use lethal weapons because they tell you, oh, it'll make more BTs in the world, so I never fucking touched them. Why'd you give me 60 different lethal weapons and then tell me if you use them, it's a bad idea and you're a stupid poo-poo head? You're the stupid poo-poo head. You put the stupid gun in the game. Why'd you put it in the game if you don't want me to use it?
I feel personally attacked by my past self right now. Like, goddamn. I really made it sound like the viewer was at fault there.
The game also seems to have some kind of auto aim system where there's this little reticle that'll show up right on an enemy and I think it just automatically shoots them for you, and it's like, okay, you're already making the shooting not at all fun for me. Why are you doing it for me? So we already know that shooting humans is stupid. What about the bad things? As I mentioned earlier, these giant bad things will show up sometimes and you're supposed to shoot at them with these special guns that use up your blood and whatnot, and it's really gross. But they're just unreasonably stupid to fight. They can hardly do a thing to you. They have way too much build-up to their attacks, and whenever you have to fight one, the game will constantly throw weaponry at you until you can just defeat it anyway. And speaking of fighting,
it literally spawns out of nowhere. I didn't mention that in the video, but like literally like these little ghost guys will rise out of like the black pools of water and just hand you guns. I don't know why ghosts are walking around with rocket launchers, but
BTs, let's talk about void outs. Most of the time, when you are fighting a BT, all they'll try to do is like swipe at you, or they'll charge at you, try to knock you over and make you fall down dead. Here's the thing. Sam Bridges, the character you play as, has something called main character powers. And that means that he never technically dies. If he does die, he barfs up a little black ooze and he gets back up and his packages are a little damaged and he goes on his merry way. But in a very special circumstance, if a bad thing eats Sam Porter Bridges, it will cause a void out. What's a void out, you might be asking? It's a big old explosion. These big old explosions will leave these giant craters on the map that will never go away. And from what I can tell, this is a very rare occurrence. It only happened to me one time in my playthrough of Death Stranding, but that one time was a major inconvenience for the rest of the game. My void out happened.
The usage of the word inconvenience throughout this section was a mistake. I had one person like basically try to say that my entire opinion had been invalidated because I was slightly wrong about part of this section. And then they started giving me shit because they were like, well, if you don't want to play games that inconvenience you, then stick to casual games. It's like, well, that's not really the point I was making. But that's more on them for being a butthurt little bitch than it is on me.
Happened at a very special location, okay? There was a mountain on one side, a mountain on another, and then just one road leading straight through the middle of them, and the void out happened right where that road leads into. What does that mean? It means that my only pathway through these two mountains was completely blocked off by this giant crater that I can't even touch. I had to go around and climb the mountains every time I need to get through that area for the rest of the fucking game. It never went away. Now you can argue that having the void outs have such a potentially detrimental consequence is a good thing because it makes you fear them more. But I would counter that by saying that's stupid, especially when you consider that I had no idea a void out could even happen before it did happen. The game gave me no indication. It did not tell me anything about if you get eaten by a BT, it's going to cause a big old explosion that'll majorly inconvenience you. It did not tell me anything about that. It just happened to me.
It's like if I fucking broke my leg when I was 3 years old, and then the doctor was like, you fucked up, so I'm not gonna heal this. It's gonna stay broken forever. I know you didn't know that this was gonna happen and it was an accident, but fuck you, idiot. You shouldn't have broken your leg.
So all of this might come across as me saying that the combat is too difficult and I was being a little crybaby piss boy and saying, oh, I can't beat it. Mom, come play the game for me and beat it because it's too hard. But I'm actually kind of saying the opposite. The combat is way too easy in this game. Like I mentioned before, the BTs really don't fight back that much. They're really easy to kill. The humans aren't that tough either. The gun auto aims at them. And if the game requires you to get into a fight, the game will always help you out with it way too much.
Like I mentioned earlier, there are these parts of the game where the game will transport you to a battlefield from around the world and you'll have to fight this mad milk guy. But anytime it does, it's not like, oh, you're only taking what you have with you, so you better hope you have a gun that can take care of this guy. It's nothing like that. The game will fucking drop guns and blood bags on the ground for you constantly, just all over the place.
The blood bags, which I have not talked about yet, are how you can heal yourself as well as use certain guns that are effective against the BTs. It takes 2 blood bags in later parts of the games to fully heal you. And there's 3 blood bags to a box, and in this fight, I have 5 boxes and can fully heal myself 7 fucking times.
Why do I have to worry about getting shot at if I've got blood fucking flowing into me the whole goddamn time? Nothing is a problem. I can have a leg come off and it'll just be spurting blood constantly. But it's okay, I've got more blood flowing in, so you can spurt out all you want. I've got more. It's like a constant recycling program. We're just getting clean blood. It's great.
I think it's also important to realize that it does not make any sense for combat to be as easy as it is, especially when they try to set it up as something difficult. The 2 main antagonists that the game tries to set up for you, Angry Milkman and Higgs, are both set up as super powerful people. Angry Milkman is called a combat veteran and he's supposed to be like a hardened, grizzled soldier. And Higgs is constantly being set up as like, oh my god, he's so powerful. He's got like god powers. He's basically an anime antagonist. He's a fucking badass. You stand no chance. He controls the weather. He controls how much pussy juice flows out of your mother, okay? And I'm standing over here like, I'm just an Amazon delivery man. How am I supposed to fight a combat veteran and an anime protagonist who's sleeping with my mother? The answer is, you just can because. Cool. Punch him really hard. That is how you defeat him. That is not a joke. You punch him really hard.
Oh, but Mac, the punching part was only the last part of the fight. What about the part where you fight the big human BT? Or the part where you have to fucking chase after him while he's teleporting around? They're not hard either. When he makes the giant BT thing, the game gives you rocket launchers left and right, like I mentioned earlier. And then in the part where he's teleporting around, he has no fucking AI.
I love this shot. It's so hilarious. All I'm doing is standing behind a small rock, and this NPC has no fucking clue what to do about it.
He'll stand in place and wait for you to come over, and he sucks at aiming, so you can just run. It's easy. He sucks. Higgs sucks. He's not strong, and combat isn't hard. It's not fun. It's not hard. Why is it in the game?
You can tell I was very heated about that. That part of the game really made me mad.
Since combat is such an inconsequential part of the game, and because more often than not it can be avoided, and if it can't, the game will just feed you guns and ammunition and blood bags, it can basically be considered a separate part of the game, almost a mini game, and not a good one.
This is my favorite section. I think this part of the video really cemented to me that like my improvised jokes are a lot funnier than my written jokes. A lot of this part of the video was improvised, and some of my favorite jokes came out of it. Same with the ending.
If any of you have been watching me for a long time or watch me over on Twitch, you probably know by now that I'm not particularly patient about video game stories. If it doesn't immediately hook me, I'm probably not interested in the first place, and I won't continue to pay attention to it.
Is it going to open up after this? Because I would very much like that. God. I'm still so pissed that my computer just won't run. Like at this point, I don't even know if I want to play the game, or I just want to like feel vindicated by like making the game work. Like, I just can't play Red Dead 2. My computer cannot play that game, and I don't know why. It just doesn't launch. And Rockstar Sport has been no help. Great fucking music video, guys. Can we get back to the game, please? Got it. Thanks. Okay, they're just gonna keep going, huh?
It's also extremely easy to lose me when it comes to a video game story because I don't care about video game stories that much. I want to play the game. And if the story's not interesting but the game is fun, I'm still gonna play the game. On the other hand, if the game sucks and the story's interesting, that won't make me play a game.
Death Stranding is interesting to me because it actually has an engaging and interesting story. One of the most interesting I've ever seen. So much so that I even start to care about the side characters. The game has a system where the side characters will send you mail from time to time, which will thank you for what you did for them, or will tell you of ways that you inspired them to do different things. And it's interesting. And I feel surprised saying that because they will send you paragraphs at a time, just tons of mail. And I read all of it. For some reason, I was attached to these characters and I liked hearing from them, which is really impressive in terms of how I react to games like this.
But ultimately, the story is completely disconnected from the gameplay entirely.
The deliveries do not advance the storyline so much as the deliveries are an excuse for you to go from cutscene to cutscene.
Whenever you get from point A to point B, the game will dump a cutscene on you or fill you in on a little backstory, and then you can just go keep delivering. It doesn't impact the gameplay at all. It's not like while you're walking through the world, you're suddenly like held back by all these things you know about the world or something like that, or oh, you learn some information that makes it so, oh, maybe I have to complete deliveries differently. No, it just means like, okay, so this was a chapter of the story, and when I get to the next part of the game, there'll be another chapter of the story, and doing those two things aren't really related.
I think I could have stated my point in this part better. The problem with the story gameplay relationship in this game is that the story is too large in scope and importance compared to what you're actually doing in the game. Canonically speaking, like within the game story, it makes sense for you to have to move from East Coast to West Coast. You know, you have to like link together all these outposts so you can create a network that allows them to like talk to your sister or something like that. I don't fully remember the story. But then like for some reason you're still expected to like keep acting like as like a postal service man, giving people their mail while doing this super important task while you bust your ass across the country. So like, you know, the game is telling you you need to go from point A to point B for the sake of this like story reason, but they're also saying like, but the real reason you're doing it is so you can deliver supplies from one outpost to the other. And it's like, that doesn't make sense at all. Why am I being a fucking mailman when I'm also like on the world's most important journey and mission? Welcome back, Microwave. Were you sleeping? Did you go to sleep? Or did you do something else? So, you know, I didn't state my point very well in this part of the story. It kind of made it sound like I just didn't think that the story and gameplay were related. That's not entirely the truth. The problem is that what you're doing in the game doesn't make sense in the context of the story. In the context of the story, I'm like trying to bust my ass across the country as fast as I can, so I can rescue my sister. But then like in gameplay, I'm fucking going back and forth like crazy, making deliveries, trying to check boxes, and it's like that doesn't make sense. I was having a call with my friend. Do you also see my messages twice? I do not. It's just you. Maybe reload the page. I think other people have had that issue before.
And the world that Death Stranding is set in it doesn't make any sense, and the game just expects you to figure that out. And you might be expecting that it will eventually reveal the mysteries, but it's not going to. Just figure it out.
So this is one of my favorite parts of the video because I was just improving the shit out of it, and I think my improv jokes are a lot better than my written jokes. I'm all ears now. We're in the story section of the video. Which I think is one of the stronger parts of this video because there was a lot of improv humor, which is definitely stronger for me than written humor. I'm getting better at written humor, but definitely improv humor is much stronger for me.
So like this world was just the real world, like it had Chicago and Seattle, you could just take a plane and go from left to right. But then like the real world and the ghost world like merged together. So now there's ghosts of the real world, and the ghosts don't like the humans because the humans are still alive and they can still play Xbox. So the ghosts try to kill the humans, so the humans have to go in hiding. But sometimes the ghosts form into like a really big ghost, and if the big ghost eats a human, it causes a void out. That's
funny back from the past. I mean, it's not like super funny, but I do think this is one of the better parts of the video. I mean, this entire video, you know, was my first foray into this. How do you feel watching yourself? Well, I'm taking this very analytical. It's like we talked about last live stream. Like, I almost feel like I'm watching it as a new viewer because I haven't watched this video in forever, but like, it just feels so amateurish that I'm just like tearing apart my own work. But it was my first attempt at this kind of video, so it makes sense that it was a bit of a mess.
bad. And now since there's ghosts in the real world, if a human dies, then within 48 hours, their body will decompose and they'll turn into a ghost man. But
taking this very seriously. Well, I'm trying to like, you know, explain how I've gotten better at making these kinds of videos, and there's a lot of things about this video that didn't. I'll say I'm very happy with this video. I still think this video is pretty great, but it could have been a lot better. And a big part of it is just like my experience with these kinds of videos, which I couldn't have possibly had at that time. At the time period that I made this video, there's no possible way that I could have made it better, because at that time it was the peak of what I was capable of. I know what you mean. Okay, good. I'm very analytical. I think it's what makes it, I don't consider it a downside of me. I think it's a very good thing about me and my work. I think the fact that I'm very analytical of my own work is exactly what's allowed me to improve over time to the extent that I have, because no matter how good I do, I am always looking for ways that it could be better. And I always try to act on that. I feel the same way about my art, so it's okay. Good.
if you incinerate their bodies, they don't turn into ghosts because they go to hell instead. But then if a big bad thing goes ahead and eats one of the decomposing people humans, then it causes a real big explosion. And that's why the world is all fucked up.
And now because there are ghosts in the world, there are also like some people who can see the ghost or sense the ghost, but most people can't. And like if there's a baby that's born, it's like it's not technically alive yet because it's still in the womb. So if we take it out of the womb, but we make it think that this little jar is also a womb, the baby can sense the ghosts. Because the baby's kind of like a ghost. And then there's guys like Higgs.
That's legitimate. Like that was. I definitely like I played up certain parts of this explanation for like the improv humor part, but like that's legitimately the explanation for why the babies can sense ghosts. It's so fucking stupid. They aren't born yet, so they're kind of like a ghost. I don't remember that spooky ass baby ghost story. The baby ghost is fucking weird.
Who are friends with the ghost, because one time a ghost was crying and Higgs gave it a Snickers bar and he was like, here, you're not yourself when you're hungry. And now the BTs are friends with Higgs because they really like Snickers bars.
That was completely made up, but I think it's one of the funniest jokes in the entire video. I don't know why. It's kind of stupid, but I love that joke. I think it's hilarious.
And then there's this lady, she's your sister, but also your mom. You don't know that till later.
I thought this was the game. It was. See, this is what I was talking about in the stories, or what I was talking about before. The gameplay is so disconnected from the story. Like, all this weird, crazy shit is happening, but you're just a fucking mailman.
But she exists in the world called the beach. But the beach isn't actually a beach. It's just a different dimension where the ghosts aren't.
It has a crazy long story. The story it takes place over like multiple like half an hour long cutscenes throughout several parts of the game. I wish I'd done a calculation at some point in this video to like point out how much time in this game was spent on cutscenes, because there's so many cutscenes. It's a big bathtub.
And then the real
Where
one
all the whales
is in the
come
real
from,
world,
Jared?
but because the real one is real and the beach one is fake, the real one ages and dies, so now all you have is the fake one in the other dimension. So then everyone's like, oh, go save your sister. She's on a beach on the West Coast, but she's not actually on the beach on the West Coast. She's in a different dimension. So why did you have to go cross country? I don't fucking know.
She's your mom / your sister. Well, actually, she's just fully your mom. The sister thing was made up.
The more time you spend with the story and the more you start to unlock the mysteries of the world, the less interesting they become as you realize that the explanations for everything is just, oh, because...
The whales are... Hey, that hurt my feelings, Jared. Apologize.
The characters all operate on the same kind of faux logic, too. They all seem very interesting at first until you learn why they are the way that they are.
There's Lockney and Malingen, who are these wonder twins who can share ESP, but then like one of them got pregnant and then they just stopped talking.
You're on thin ice, Jared. You get banned before long.
Because the one got hurt in an accident and that's her own fault.
And then they didn't talk for a really long time, but then Lockney was like, oh, the world needs me, so I guess I'll go see my sister Malingen. So you take her to Malingen, but she dies on the way. Why? I don't know. But it's okay because they have special twin power. And when one of them dies, they just fucking Dragon Ball Fusion high into one person, and now you've got Lockney Malingen. And they operate out of the same body. Why? Doesn't fucking matter. Shut up, quit questioning it.
Die Hard Man. He's very mysterious. He wears this spooky skull mask, but he's also the president of the United States. I think if Trump wore a big skull mask, he'd probably get really blasted in the media, but Die Hard Man can do it, because I don't know. And also he goes by Die Hard Man, which does not really sound like a good guy's name. And what is his actual name? Doesn't matter. You voted for him. He's your president. You voted for him as Die Hard Man. You wanted your president to be named Die Hard Man. That was your choice.
Why is he named that? Why does he wear the mask? He wears the mask for no reason. He'll take it off later with just no climactic reason at all.
Why is he called Die Hard Man? Because he just kept being alive. He wouldn't die, so it's like hard for him to die. That's actually the reason.
You know why they call me Die Hardman.
The cutscenes in this game were beautiful, you know, I'll give it that. They're gorgeous cutscenes.
Let me die.
It's just such a shit story.
Dead Man is a man who's both dead and man. He was made from a bunch of parts from corpses. How is he alive? Who fucking knows? So he's never alive to begin with, so he's like a big old zombie, but he still lives and breathes, so you can kind of talk to him, and...
I'm a soulless meat puppet.
These characters...
I feel like they blew the money on animation first and story second. Probably, honestly. Like, the game looks gorgeous in terms of cutscenes, but then like the map itself is so bland and uninteresting to look at. It's like depressing, and the story is so confusing and nonsensical that it's like they really just wanted to make sure the cutscenes looked really good. And if that's the case, they should have just made a movie.
Characters have personalities and are interesting, but ultimately when you learn more about them, they are just so unbelievably stupid, and then there's absolutely no conflict between them. They're all working towards the same goal, and any conflict they have is essentially resolved by them saying, oh, well, please just do it anyway. At the beginning of the game, Sam is like, America is fake. I'm not going to help you guys with your bullshit thing because I don't want to. And then Dead Man and Die Hard Man were like, well, can you just do it anyway?
Like
and then
it.
he just does it anyway. That's fucking literally the actual thing that happens.
Sam, listen to me.
Like pay attention to Die Hard Man's mask. It like the parts of his mask like move, and like parts of his mouth separate as he talks. It's very subtle, but it looks fantastic. Like someone did a lot of work on his mask, but it doesn't matter because the story sucks.
America. Reconstructionism. Her dream isn't dead.
I don't want to hear it. Go fuck yourself. I'm not your errand boy. No, I'm through with this.
Take the Cupid west, Sam, and reconnect the people of our great nation.
If there are...
No, exactly. The most interesting character is this guy named Heartman. I didn't talk about him in the video, I don't think, because he was actually a character, so I didn't have any reason to talk about him. Heartman was great. He's this guy who's like... He I don't know how to explain him. Every 30 seconds or so, he has a heart attack and dies. So he has a defibrillator that's attached to his chest all the time, but he never immediately defibrillates himself because he like lets himself die, goes to the death realm and tries to find his family because he doesn't know if they died or not when the world like went into apocalypse. So he dies for 30 seconds, then comes back to life. So you have like, I don't know, 10 minutes to talk to him before his next heart attack, and then he dies again, and you wait 30 seconds and he comes back and he keeps talking. And it's like, he's such a weird and interesting character, but he doesn't really serve any purpose in the story because the story is so nonsensical. So he doesn't end up mattering. Like, why would you do that to a character that has that interesting of a premise? Like the fact that he can die for 30 seconds at a time is never an important part of the story. He never like uses it to his advantage for your purpose in any way. Like he doesn't even like finish his own purpose. He never like finds his family or anything. Someone just had a Pinterest board of character. Honestly, they just ripped this off from some Tumblr user or something.
Character arcs, they're not earned at all. They basically just happen magically. The best example is Sam himself. Sam, at the beginning, you learn he's very afraid of getting touched.
What the hell? Didn't mean to grab you so hard.
Why? I don't know. Does it matter? No, because eventually he just gets over it.
Dead man, stop. That is not social distancing. Where's your mask? God, this game really does take place in America.
Something I wanted to write into my Berserk video, but I ended up cutting because it didn't serve any purpose to the greater purpose of the video. Guts, for a pretty big chunk of the story, like Sam here, also does not like being touched by other people. He will like swat them away and tell them never to fucking touch him. But there's actually a really valid reason for that. It's because, you know, Guts was abused as a child. He's very uncomfortable around other people and with other people touching him especially. So it takes a long time for him to like warm up to people and for him to like get over that. It's a very important part of his character, as well as like being a defining thing for him when he starts to get over it, especially with people that he's been around a lot. It's like that kind of thing is handled so much better in Berserk, whereas in Death Stranding, it's like Sam doesn't like to be touched. Why? I don't know. He gets over it though, so doesn't fucking matter.
So let me make an addendum to what I said at the beginning of this chapter. The story is very interesting. You want to learn what's next. But for some reason, they keep putting this video game in the middle of the story. And also all the interesting things about the story end up having boring resolutions. So it's actually pretty shit.
I just want to point out this is the last like 15 minutes of the video. Like I feel like my anger about the ending of this game is a big part of why I wanted to make this video. I was so pissed off about the ending of this game that I decided to make this entire video. I am wearing the same shirt. I did that totally by accident. I noticed that about like 20 minutes into the video. I accidentally wore the same sweatshirt today. Completely did not mean to do that.
Before you even ask me, yes, the ending does have to be a separate chapter from the story. As mentioned before, the ending takes everything interesting and intriguing about the plot and the story and just fucking
so
crashes it into the ground. It feels like they spent hours setting up all these cutscenes and plot points and subplots and stacking blocks, and then they just lost funding and the base of the blocks just got fucking swept out from under them and the whole thing came tumbling down and they had to just wrap it up real quick. Everything that was interesting about the story gets revealed in the least interesting possible way. Namely,
it's terrible. Like, I'll just let this part of the video speak for itself. I to this day am pissed about how this game ended. I feel like they owe me something for how terrible the ending of this game was.
Someone just explaining it in a completely anticlimactic method way, place, thing, people. To give you an idea of how much of an insult the ending of this game is, let me just give you a bullet pointed list of how this all goes down.
So after you beat the final boss of the game, you go into the other dimension where your sister is hanging out and she's like, I gotta destroy the world, bro, cause like, it's my purpose. And then you're like, well, what if you didn't? And then she's like, all right, cool. And then you get teleported to a different beach. And this is where all goes wrong.
Here's what happens at the beach place. You run a little bit and then you stop, collapse over, and you sit down on the ground and your sister will appear and she'll explain things. She'll end the plot points you were interested in by just explaining them to you. She'll take all the mystery of the story and plot out completely and just explain it to you, words.
Nothing gets resolved in any kind of climactic or interesting way. The sister just explains it right here on the beach. And the great thing about the beach too is that it takes fucking forever. Here's how this works. You run around aimlessly for a bit till he falls over, then she explains bullshit to you for like 5 minutes straight, then she disappears, you get up, you run around some more, and it recycles like 50 fucking times it feels like. I don't know how long this part actually takes, but you don't even have the option to like get up, sit on the couch, and watch some Eric Andre while this bullshit plays out. Because if you don't move after she stops talking to you, the next part won't continue. So not only are you trapped in an endless loop of listening to some dumb bitch talk, everything you wanted to know is going to be revealed here in the least interesting possible way. And so after however long of dealing with this bullshit, the credits finally roll. And Norman Reedus tries to kill himself, but I already used all the bullets trying to shoot my sister earlier, so he can't do that. And then the title card shows up. It's a beautiful logo, and the game
comes to a close. Or so you fucking thought. Next comes a 20-minute long cutscene where they again just reveal a bunch of character backstories and bullshit that's like,
Made all these cinematic shots to resolve. Yes, they did. They did. They absolutely did. They spent that long building cutscenes and story to have someone just explain the resolution to you. It's terrible.
okay, cool. Can I go home now? And then they send you on this one last delivery. It's like, I gotta go to this fucking incinerator and get rid of this stupid baby I've been take care of around with me because he peed his pants. I don't want to take care of the diaper, so I'm just gonna incinerate him. That seems like a better solution.
So you take the baby to the incinerator, but then before you incinerate it, you get stuck in a 35-minute long cutscene.
You're right.
That's right.
That's a great analogy. That's exactly what it was.
But then before you incinerate it, you get stuck in a 35-minute long cutscene. That's right! You thought the 20-minute cutscene was bad, but no, there's a 35-minute fucking long cutscene in this game. And here's where you find out how Angry Milkman became the dad of the little baby character, and also how he died, and who killed him, which was Die Hard Man, which isn't interesting at all, and at this point you're not interested. And then the credits roll, and you might be thinking to yourself, wait a minute, Mac, didn't we already see the credits roll? What is this, a fucking typo in your script? Did you actually type it in again? No! You get to watch the credits twice in this game. Kojima was like, I gotta have my name in the intro, in the credits, in the second credits. Okay, I'm fucking baller. My name's on the logo. It's all about me. My name's Kojima. Oh!
Yeah, there is so much cutscenes in this game. So many. Not all of them are 30 minutes long. Most of them aren't, but like the ending especially. It's a total of like an hour's worth of cutscene. Practically 2 if you count the parts where you're on the beach and she's just explaining things to you, which I do because you can't move or do anything while she's doing that.
So then after the second set of unskippable credits, the title shows up.
Isn't that a nice title card? Fantastic. I love a great logo on this game. Then you get to see the Kojima logo, so you remember, oh, this is whose house I need to send bombs to. Don't do that. That is illegal. That was a joke.
And finally, 2 fucking hours after you beat the final boss, the game ends for real this time.
I wanted to die after having to go through all of that. Halfway through the 2 hours, I wanted to be done. I was ready to be done. But it just wouldn't let me escape.
If I want to play a game for 8 hours, I will play a game for 8 hours. But if you force me to play a game for 2 hours, Daddy's angry.
But
I get why you're still it still makes me mad. It felt like I was imprisoned. Like I was chained to my desk, unable to leave because the game just kept throwing more cutscenes and credits at me.
somehow that twisted fucking limbo prison of an ending is not the biggest insult this game has to offer. The biggest insult is BB. Who is BB? BB stands for baby.
No, the worst part of this game by far, like the gameplay was mediocre. It wasn't bad. It was serviceable. The worst part of this game by far was the story and how it handled it.
I've intentionally avoided talking about BB up to this point, even though he's a major part of this game, because I really want to break down how big of a deal this ending was. Throughout the entire game, you have this little baby strapped to your chest. His name is BB, and he lets you see the bad things in the world, but he also manages to sit as a part of the story as well as kind of a partner character throughout the game.
It's because we're partners.
Partners.
Every now and then, he'll give you a little thumbs up, and if he gets too scared by the bad things, he'll start freaking out, and you have to like shake his little bottle, but don't shake it too hard because then you'll hurt his little stupid little head, and calm him down. And because Sam has main character powers and can never die, whenever he connects to BB, you see these flashbacks of BB's that kind of show his early life, as hard as that is to think of because he already is in early life. It's here in these flashbacks that you realize that Angry Milkman, who's always trying to kill you, is BB's father, and that something went down where the father had to protect the BB, and now the BB's with you for some reason. These flashbacks were legitimately one of my favorite parts of the game. It reminds me of the movie Memento, where you would have to piece together what happened based on different scenes that you came across. The game doesn't give you the cutscenes in a linear order, so you have to kind of figure out what happens and what the flow of the cutscenes is. And I was absolutely intrigued, trying to find out how it flows into the major plot and how exactly BB got to me.
And the game is constantly telling you that BB is like a failed BB. There's more than one BB, but yours is a failure, but you like him anyway, so you keep him.
But why is it here?
Because it's flagged for disposal. Central Knot's gone, and our headquarters along with it. Because that thing didn't do its job.
And so I thought that, like, since he's a failure and he has all these flashbacks going on, like, that's gonna connect somehow in a meaningful way, where BB ending up in your care had something to do with those flashbacks, which connected to the overall plot. For me, a guy who doesn't give a fuck about stories and hates kids, to care about BB, that was really well done. I wanted so badly to learn more about him, to know how he ended up with me, to know how these flashbacks relate to what's going on, and I wanted to know the mysteries. I wanted to have the questions answered.
And what am I rewarded with? In the 35-minute long cutscene that you see at the end of the game that just constantly ruins plot lines for you, you find out that Angry Milkman is your dad, and that all the flashbacks you were seeing were your own memories.
Let me say that again. All the flashbacks you've been seeing that set up BB as an interesting and important character, they were yours the entire time. So who's BB? He's nobody. He's just a baby.
Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding? I spent how long in this game interested in this dumbass baby, and I had to take care of it and soothe it and fucking make sure it didn't get stressed out. He's nobody. He's just a fucking baby. What the fuck?
Oh my God. I really beat the shit out of my pillow just there. My God. I really want to see who the writers are. They ought to be a huge mess. I have to imagine, like, Kojima wrote this game, supposedly, but I have to imagine there was a team of like 8 writers that were all just confused as hell about what he wanted and didn't know what to do. So they just slapped a bunch of random ideas together, and then he was like, man, this is a very artistic piece in the way that it doesn't fully explain itself or actually explain itself at all. So that's perfect, guys. Good job.
This was the biggest slap in the face that I have ever experienced, except for the time that my mom slapped me in the face for pooping on her car. But I deserved that. I didn't deserve this! 44 hours of my life in the drain. I didn't fucking deserve this, Kojima.
Why sound like a New York mobster? I didn't deserve this, Kojima. What, you gonna talk to me about my gabagool? How dare you come into my house?
They even call this game Death Stranding. It should have been called fucking Sam. Nothing in the story has any relevance unless it can somehow relate to Sam. The plot moves forward because Sam exists. He's not a part of the world. The world is a part of him.
Sam's the only one who could fix the whole world. Why? Doesn't fucking matter. He's the only one that can. If he decided not to do this bullshit, you wouldn't have Death Stranding. Why shouldn't Sam's sister destroy the world? Because Sam looked her in the eyes and said, "Pretty please, for me." Who's BB? No one. Why does he matter? Because Sam likes him.
Who's Die Hard Man? Oh, he killed your daddy, but your daddy also shot at you, so bad daddy, so I guess it doesn't really matter. Everything comes back to Sam, and not in a good way. Because Sam is not a character that I care about. He's the least interesting protagonist of any game I've ever played. He doesn't even, like, wear a funny hat or anything. He's just...
I forgot I put a Pornhub hat on him. That's pretty fucking funny. I got myself with that joke. That was a good joke, Mac. Good job.
There and depressed.
This ending completely ruined the story and ultimately my experience with Death Stranding. I honestly would not have been so aggravated about this game if it weren't for how dog shit the ending was. Not only in terms of what they subjected me to, but also in terms of how they revealed things and wrapped things up. It was the most infuriating ending to a plot that I've ever experienced, and I was very, very angry.
Yeah, we can tell, Mac. We can tell when you're beating the shit out of your throw pillow that you're a little bit upset about this one.
So in conclusion, should you play this game? I don't know is the answer. It's definitely a fantastic example of how not to make a game. And it's a great example of why you need a team of people to tell you, hey, don't do this dumb bullshit. So if you're an aspiring game developer, I would highly recommend playing this game because there's a lot you'll learn from it. But ultimately, if you look at this game and if you look at this video and you decide I'm still interested in playing this game, you should, because that's basically why I played it. Everything on paper said I shouldn't like this game, but I played it anyway. This game would have been a lot better, in my opinion, if they had just cut combat entirely, at least in terms of the humans. I think that the world should have fought back against you more, and the game should have been more about mastering deliveries rather than just fighting some people who want to touch your packages and get hot off of it. I don't think this game is a mistake, and I don't think it should be hated.
I do think the conclusion of this video is really strong. I did a really good job of kind of wrapping up everything that I've said in a tight, neat little package and getting the point I was trying to make throughout the whole video out in one go.
I think it's more of a misstep. I personally don't regret playing it because if nothing else, it is 100% the most unique game I've ever played. I mean, here I am 5-6 months after I've played it and I've gone this in depth talking about it, and it's not like I went through my footage and looked at every second of it to remember this stuff. This is all just still in my head. And a lot of games I play, I forget a lot of stuff about because it's all the same these days. This game stands out. Honestly, this game is kind of a guilty pleasure for me because, like I said, on paper, there's no reason I should like it. But I would be lying to you if I said I did not enjoy playing through it.
The game obviously gave me a lot to think about, and ultimately, I feel like I'm better able to recognize the things that I do like in video games because I played this game that had so much that I didn't like. And it's important to me for that reason alone. The message of this video is follow your dreams. But if someone says, hey, your dream isn't bad, just do it in a way that works, don't quit your company, go form your own studio, and make Death Stranding and have it bomb because it fucking sucks. If you've actually watched this entire video, I'm very impressed with
I'm just going to stop it there because it's just me talking about the video itself after that. But just so we're all on the same page, like I referred to this game as flopping, but it really didn't. Like, it didn't get a great, like, critical reception, but I'm actually, like, one of the few that didn't like this game. Like, it has 93% positive reviews on Steam. Out of 36,000 reviews, that's a lot of reviews, you know. People bought and played the shit out of this game. I honestly, I don't know how many of these people, like, I don't know. I don't want to be like riding on that high horse, like my tastes are so superior. I'm a sommelier. You don't understand. You can't taste the hints of shit that are mixed into this. But like, you know, I do genuinely think most AAA games don't get a reception that is fair simply because they are AAA games. People give AAA games more passes on really small things than they should, where they would otherwise bash smaller games. Maybe it's the team who just made a bunch of accounts to review it. Maybe. Like, there's a lot of games that are pretty terrible that get, like, decently positive reviews just because, like, I don't know, the mass population doesn't care so much about the littler things that upset people who look at things a little more critically, I guess is how I would put it. And so, like, you know, this game came from a super famous developer on a super huge budget. And so, like, I think a lot of people just kind of played it and were like, yeah, that's a AAA game that I liked without trying to think too much about it. I don't know. I don't understand. Maybe I'm the odd one out and I'm just weird for not liking it. I don't know why people liked it. I don't understand it, but they did. We have established popular does not equal good, but just easy to enjoy. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's just the accessibility of it. I really don't know. I don't know why people liked it so much. I did not enjoy it. I have not touched that game once since I did that review, and I don't plan to ever play it again. My one time was enough, more than enough. But yeah, that was the video, and that video took me weeks to make, and it was a really good decision. I think the direction my channel's gone since making that video has been really good, and I learned a lot from that video. And I've mentioned it before, but I'll say it again. Like, when I started making YouTube videos, I liked those types of videos already. I already liked videos that were like, you know, really researched, really went in depth on a subject, really talked about like something and like criticized it in a constructive way. But I never thought that was the kind of video that I would be capable of making. I've never been good at pre-planning videos. Never. I've never been good at, and especially like, at a younger age, I wasn't good at criticizing things. Like I knew I liked and disliked things, but I didn't know why I disliked and disliked things. And somewhere along the way, it just clicked with this game where it was like, I don't like this game. Here are a fucking bullet pointed list of why. And it encouraged me to make a video about it, which then encouraged all the other videos I've made since. And I've had way more fun making videos since because they're so much harder to make. And as a video creator, the amount of effort that I had to put into them really makes them a lot of fun to do. Little pieces seem to have just come together one by one. Yeah, it was just like that video was like, for me, right place, right time. Like I was already interested. I was watching a lot of video essays at the time, and all of a sudden I had this subject that I was super interested in that I knew I could make a video about, and so I did. And it inspired a complete shift in my channel that, you know, everybody, myself included, seems to have enjoyed. So, you know, there's a lot of things I would do different with that video. If I were to remake it, which I never will, I would do a lot of things differently. My points were at times not as strong as they could have been. I wasn't as clear as I could have been. The quality wise, like the audio leveling was everywhere. My green screen footage was garbage. My green screening was garbage. But you know, you have to trip and fall down so you can learn how to stand sometimes. And the mistakes that I made in that video established things that I grew from that created my Berserk video that I think is super strong. And you know, there's things I don't like about that video too. There's things that I want to fix in future videos from that video too. But ultimately, like it's the videos that I'm making now are not videos that I ever viewed as possible for me to make when I made my channel in 2017. And that's important to me. The mistakes that were made were the basis for the better things built on it. Exactly. And that's, you know, a year from now, whenever I release whatever's going to come out around that time, I'm sure I'll be thinking, man, that Berserk video could have been a lot better. I'm sure there'll be things about it that I see that I'm not seeing now that I could have done a lot better. And I look forward to that. I always look forward to that. I mentioned it before, but my goal every single year is to make whatever I did the previous year look like shit. That's always my goal. I always want to leave my old work in the dust as like, we don't talk about that. That's not what I do anymore. I make better than that. I'm better than that. So, you know, but I am proud of that video. I think it was really good anyway. That's a good way to see progress. That's always my intention. I don't like settling. I've talked on the podcast before how I don't like the idea of like peaking, of like reaching a peak and not being able to move past it. I don't like the idea of making a video that's so good I'll never top it. I want to top every video I make. I don't ever want to have a best video that stays my best video for long. You know, my real goal is to beat each video, like, you know, whatever video I make after my Berserk video, I want to be better than my Berserk video. But, you know, in the case that isn't reality, I know that I can still beat that video at some point. You know, that's not my peak. And if I knew it was my peak, that would not be great for me. Will death be your peak? Bold of you to assume that I am not immortal! But probably. I don't know, when will I peak? You know, the brain dies pretty fast. I think I'll peak around age 27, and the rest of it will just be a slow, painful descent as I try desperately to get anybody to watch my videos, but they're just slowly getting worse and worse as I lose touch with reality. We'll see. Oh man, Microwave. I listened to the new episodes of the podcast today. I feel like there was something I needed to say about it. Some thought I had that I wanted to mention, but I completely don't remember what it was anymore. Oh, just a few years left then. Yeah, I got 4 years. I got time. I got time to peak. This one was the one that was what was it? Pretty good advice. What was the title? Pretty solid advice. And I also listened to the logo one. But yeah, I don't remember. There was some thought I had, but I don't remember. Who knows, I guess. Ooh, excuse me. I did a little burp. A little burpee for you. Kanan is playing Sonic, I think. What's Kanan playing? Let's watch Kanan. We'll steal his content.
Oh God, my One Ring.
Thanks for making it. I always enjoy your podcasts. They're great to think about.
Goodbye, buddy.
They're great for thinking.
Ooh, okay. One shot, thank goodness. Ooh. Hey, Mac. Oh, you're watching my stream on your stream? Wait, why are you doing that? Like, weren't you playing Final Fantasy? Geez, what were you playing? I thought Final Fantasy today, right? I think. But yeah, hi Max Stream, how you doing? I can't see that chat, so I can't really reply. How's your chat doing, Mac?
Now Kanan needs to watch your stream. Just make it extra meta.
Oh, yeah, no, it's my usual, ooh. Okay, I thought I was gonna get hit there, but no, it's my usual Wednesday stream. And I was just on a kind of a Sonic binge, so I've been continuing it. It's kind of sad.
Playing a Sonic Mania.
I would have loved to, finish.
I played like 2 levels of Sonic Mania. I wasn't that into it.
Sonic the Hedgehog, but like the Labyrinth level gave me like some bad vertigo when you got to the waterfall nonsense. But oh, oops.
Why weren't you into it? I don't remember. I feel like I need to give it another chance. Because I really liked Sonic when I was a kid.
I need to watch your stream so we can meta this nonsense? Oh boy. Okay, hang on. Hang on. Let me open that up.
Uh-oh. He's actually gonna do it.
Let me meta that. Hang on. Hold the phone. I have the window set up anyway. This is gonna be stupid.
This is gonna be really dumb.
This is gonna be so dumb. Gonna have to, I think.
Hang on, is it gonna like create a
Somebody's
tunnel?
gonna have to mute somewhere, because otherwise we're gonna be dealing with madness here.
Oh, he's right. That's.
Hold up. Yeah,
I don't know what this is gonna look like. This might just turn into a tunnel of sound.
Oh boy, how is this
It's gonna like
work?
tunnel with the
I
frame,
have no idea.
and then it'll like
can't
tunnel
barely
with
hear
the
you, by the way.
sound. You can you hear me?
But yeah, hang on. Let me just.
There I am.
This is meta.
So wait, how long do we have to wait for? Oh, it's tunneling.
Pretty good. But yeah. Hang on, let me get your chat up as well. This is
It's tunneling. It's doing it.
There we go.
Look, it's getting deeper.
Come on. There we go. No, that's using chat. There we go. Now I can see your chat. Hi, Mike. Chat. Hold up. There's the rules.
This is the future
There
of
we
video
go.
calls.
Wow, this is janky. You're gonna have to touch me, Matt, because I can't put your. Yeah. Oh man, look at the infinity mirror.
It just keeps getting deeper. It just keeps going.
I am half tempted just to grab my headphones and call you just to make this easier, you know? This is so dumb. Oh man. Yeah, hang on. I'm just gonna get you on call here. That's easier.
Okay, hang on. He's gonna call me. You don't get to see each other on each other's stream every day. True facts. It's such a funny bit. Oh, I didn't like the stream. That's sad. Is it still getting deeper, do you think? It is. It hasn't gotten to the point that you can't see it yet. It's still going.
Hang on, maybe it's on this server because I gotta get.
I think it's just gonna go to the void. Eventually, it'll just turn into darkness. Hey, there he is.
There we go. All right. Let me see. I think you're patching 3C sound right now. Could you say a couple things?
Yo, what's up? Hey, it's Mac. It's the guy. I'm the guy on Kanan's live stream right now. Slowly tunneling into.
Yeah,
It's such a goofy bit.
There you go. Audio.
What's up, Kanan?
Play Sonic. I did not expect the meta nonsense.
Yeah, so I was watching my Death Stranding video because it's been a year since it came out, so I kind of wanted to watch it and do like a retrospective. And when I was done, I like went to the YouTube homepage and saw you were live, and I was like, let's see what Kanan's up to. So that's how we ended up here.
Well, now I'm up to doing this now, apparently. So stupid. I think this is, of all the stupid stuff we've done, this is probably the stupidest.
This is primo stupidity for sure.
But yeah, I mean, I'm also gonna get back to the game. I mean, feel free to, of course, continue watching. I'm more than happy to have you here.
Yeah.
Let me just at least pop the window capture out because the meta is getting a little silly. But yeah, no,
I won't bother you anymore. Thanks for doing the bit.
No, dude, please just hang out. I'm okay with that. I've as you know, I just talk a lot in general anyway, so I'm also happy to have somebody to talk to. Because I gotta figure out how to get past this stupid maze again.
I gotcha. I actually have to leave and go get sushi, so I can't stick around. But
Fair enough. But hey, thanks for joining. And hi, Max Chat.
This level looks like a nightmare. How do you get down like the right tunnel?
Oh, you just press the direction.
Jesus. Okay. All right. Well,
yeah, just press the direction. And, the characters follow.
I see. Okay.
But yeah, you go get sushi.
All right.
Get sushi and yeah.
Yeah, I'll talk to you later, Kanan.
It was funny. All right, dude. Later.
Oh God, that was goofy. Good old Kanan. What a good guy. Yeah, I gotta go. I have plans, so I can't. That's why I kind of wanted to do a shorter stream today anyway, and it worked out because I, kind of want to do this anyway. Eat well, Mac, and bye, Kanan. Bye, Microwave. Have a good night. I hope you have the best night ever. Bye, Kanan. Thank you, guys. Here's to. I don't have a glass, but here's to. I have an empty glass. Here's to another year of making great content. Bye, everybody.